You've felt it, haven't you? That strange heaviness when you're around the wrong people, the sense that your mind gets foggier, your standards slip, and your spirit feels dimmer without you even noticing it happen. You start questioning yourself in ways you never did before, doubting your strength, shrinking your voice, losing the fire that once drove you. That's what happens when you're surrounded by low-level people. They drain you quietly, slowly, deliberately, until you forget who you were before their chaos touched your life. This video is your reminder that you're not crazy. Your spirit is responding to danger, because this isn't about being better than anyone. It's about protecting your peace, your purpose, your discipline, and the stoic clarity that life is begging you to reclaim. Today, we're walking through 8 signs that reveal when the people around you are pulling you down instead of pushing you forward. We'll uncover the habits that sabotage your growth, the mindsets that poison your focus, and the emotional patterns that turn strong individuals into passive versions of themselves. And the last sign, the final warning, is the one most people never recognize until it's too late. And before we begin, hear this reminder from Marcus Aurelius. You become what you give your attention to. If you're enjoying the videos on this channel, hit like, leave a comment as we go, and subscribe to join a community of warriors seeking real growth. Number 1, they live by impulse, not principle. You've seen this kind of person shake the foundation of a room simply by existing in it, because everything they do is driven by a craving, a mood swing, or a fleeting emotion. You can feel the instability in the way they speak, rushing from desire to desire, without ever thinking about the consequences that follow them like shadows. When you stand too close to someone ruled by impulse, you begin to absorb their chaos without noticing how your clarity dissolves. A stoic mind is built on principle, on choosing the path instead of tripping over every emotional whim that appears. Epictetus warned, "No person is free who is not master of himself." And you see that truth unfold every time the impulsive create storms. And deep down, you know your life cannot rise while standing beside someone who refuses to rise within themselves. Look at how they navigate relationships, clinging one day and disappearing the next, because impulse has no loyalty, no direction, and no anchor in reality. You try to reason with them, but reasoning requires a level mind, and a level mind is the one thing they refuse to build. Their reactions are fast, loud, and unfiltered, and they expect you to manage the wreckage each outburst leaves behind. Spend long enough near them, and you start reacting the same way, losing the quiet strength that Stoicism teaches you to protect. You stop pausing before you speak, you stop thinking before you choose, and you stop holding the line you promised yourself you'd never cross. And the cost of absorbing their rhythm is always your own self-respect. These are the friends who talk about dreams they never plan, goals they never pursue, and promises they never intend to keep, because their entire life is a revolving door of impulses dressed up as ambition. They tell you they're ready to change, but change requires discipline, and discipline requires a soul willing to confront itself. Stoicism teaches you that a principle is a compass, but impulse is a blindfold dragging you wherever the wind is blowing. If you let their inconsistency shape your world, you will lose the internal structure that makes strength possible. You can't build a future on ground that shakes whenever someone else's emotions tremble. And you weren't born to have your destiny dictated by someone else's instability. You begin to notice it in small moments, like when they persuade you to break your own rules because they have none of their own. They convince you that discipline can wait, that clarity can wait, that your priorities can wait, because their impulses always demand attention right now. A Stoic knows that each time you abandon your principles, you betray yourself in ways that don't show until months later when your life starts cracking. Impulse-driven people don't just disrupt your choices, They erode your judgment until you no longer remember why you set standards in the first place. They turn your steady pace into a frantic sprint you never agreed to run. And the moment you mirror their behavior, you start losing battles that once felt easy. Watch how quickly their lives fall apart, then watch how quickly they drag others into the fallout, because chaos always wants company. Their lack of self-control becomes your problem. Their emotional fires burn in your home, and their need for constant stimulation steals hours you should be investing in your growth. Stoicism demands that you guard your time and spirit like a fortress, but impulse-driven people treat your boundaries as suggestions. They leave you exhausted, confused, and questioning your own sanity while they move on to the next emotional thrill. And if you don't pull away, you will inherit their instability as your lifestyle. It's a slow death of potential disguised as companionship. You must ask yourself a hard question. Why are you staying close to someone who refuses to lead themselves? You cannot walk a stoic path while walking beside a wandering flame that burns everything it touches. Distance is not judgment, it is self-preservation, it is clarity, it is choosing direction over disorder. If you want your mind to stay sharp and your future to stay intact, you must stop letting impulsive people write chapters in your story. Step back before their chaos becomes your identity, and let this reflection settle into your spirit. Walk with those who choose principle, or walk alone until you become someone you're proud to follow. Number 2. They complain constantly and solve nothing. You can hear it in their voice before they even speak the words, that heavy sigh that announces the same cycle you've heard 100 times before. They carry complaints the way warriors once carried shields, ready to lift them at every moment to defend their inaction. Every problem is someone else's fault, every obstacle is unfair, and every day is another reason to give up before trying. Spend enough time listening to this, and your spirit starts shrinking, because negativity is contagious in ways you never notice until you're drowning in it. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality, and complainers live entirely in that imagined suffering. And if you're not careful, you'll start living there too." These people treat problems like decorations for their identity, something to display rather than something to fix. They turn conversations into emotional dumping grounds where hope goes to die and self-respect goes silent. You try offering solutions, but solutions threaten the comfort they find in helplessness, so they reject every possibility that demands action. Stoicism teaches you to confront what you can control, yet complainers cling to what they can't because it protects them from responsibility. Their worldview becomes a cage, and the more you listen, the more you start building a cage that looks just like theirs. And when you finally recognize it, the bars have already been installed. Complaining becomes their language, a dialect of defeat spoken fluently and proudly. They don't see how much power they give away every time they choose to speak the problem instead of becoming the solution. They convince you that life is heavy, unfair, impossible to change, and that belief begins to soften the warrior in you. Their words infiltrate your thinking, turning strong days into fragile ones and confident choices into hesitant steps. A stoic mind is sharpened by action, not softened by excuses, yet complainers will always try to convert you. And if you let them, you'll begin to forget that you were built for more than surrender. Look at how they drain rooms without lifting a finger. Their presence alone pulls the energy downward, because their mind has been trained to search for what is wrong before acknowledging what is right. You felt the exhaustion after spending time with them, as if their complaints siphoned strength directly from your bones. A Stoic understands that the environment shapes the spirit, and no environment is more corrosive than one built on negativity. You cannot rise when someone is constantly dragging your attention into the mud. And you cannot stay clean when someone is kicking dust in your direction every hour. The truth is simple. People who complain instead of acting become threats to your inner fortress. They teach you to accept defeat before effort, fear before courage, stagnation before movement. And if you walk with them long enough, you begin to mirror their resignation without realizing it. You start lowering your standards, doubting your abilities, surrendering your momentum because their worldview has infiltrated yours. A Stoic must protect the mind from this infection, because once it spreads, reclaiming your strength becomes a war within yourself, and you deserve better than a life shaped by someone else's weakness. So ask yourself, what are you absorbing each time you listen to someone who refuses to change? Your attention is sacred, your energy is limited, and your peace is priceless. You cannot afford to let chronic complainers rewrite the story of your spirit. Choose the company of problem solvers, of thinkers, of doers, of people who choose courage over comfort. And hold this truth close as a reminder. Your mind becomes what it hears, so protect it like the warrior you are becoming. Number 3. They fear growth and mock improvement. You've probably noticed how some people flinch when you start rising, as if your progress exposes every corner of their own stagnation. They shrink back, not because you've done anything wrong, but because your growth forces them to face the effort they never made. They laugh at your discipline, they tease your ambition, and they call your improvement unnecessary because it threatens the comfort of their small world. A Stoic walks toward evolution without apology, while low-level minds cling to sameness like a shield. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one, but they would rather argue while you build." And every time you let their mockery slow you down, you hand them your power. You'll hear it when you mention the book you're reading or the new habit you're building, that subtle shift in their tone that says they're uncomfortable with your direction. Instead of asking how you're growing, they make jokes to pull you back into the version of yourself they find easiest to accept. They need you predictable, familiar, unthreatening, because your evolution writes a mirror they're afraid to look into. Stoicism teaches you to grow from the inside out, to choose the hard road when it shapes your soul. But these people fear the very idea of effort. Their resistance isn't about you, it's about the voice inside them that whispers they could be more. And rather than listen, they silence it by trying to silence you. Watch how they react when you set boundaries or start valuing your time. They take it personally because growth demands space, and space threatens the control they once had over your attention. They'd rather have your old patterns than your new standards, because your growth disrupts the dynamics they're used to. Stoicism requires clarity, and clarity reveals who supported your progress and who only supported your comfort. Low-level people prefer the version of you that kept them unchallenged. And when they feel you slipping away, they respond with sarcasm, judgment, or distance, because your rising has become unbearable to them. They love the idea of improvement until someone close to them actually commits to it. Suddenly your habits become obsessions, your consistency becomes too much, your discipline becomes overkill. But what they're really saying is, your growth reminds me that I've abandoned my own. A Stoic mind doesn't shrink to make others feel safe. It stands tall and invites others to rise, even if they refuse. You cannot dim your light for people who fear brightness. You cannot apologize for wanting more from yourself, and you cannot wait for people who mock the very progress you need to survive. Their mockery is a defense mechanism, a way of pretending they're above the work they're actually afraid to do. They tell themselves growth is pretentious, so they never have to confront their own complacency. They hide behind jokes, laziness, and false indifference while watching you transform in ways they secretly envy. A Stoic sees that envy for what it is, a sign that you're outgrowing the circle you once fit in. Growth is supposed to push people away, because not everyone is meant to walk with you into the next version of yourself. And if someone mocks improvement, they're showing you they have no intention of improving at all. So here's your reflection. If they laugh at your evolution, let them. Their mockery is proof that you're stepping into a life they never had the courage to pursue. Walk anyway, rise anyway, grow anyway, even if you must do it alone. You owe your loyalty to your future, not to people who are committed to staying small. And when the noise around you tries to pull you down, remember this: the higher you climb, the fewer voices you should hear. Number 4. They lack accountability, blaming everything but themselves. You can recognize them instantly by the way every story they tell ends with someone else at fault, as if life itself has conspired against them. Nothing is ever their responsibility, nothing is ever within their control, and nothing is ever their doing. They rewrite every failure as someone else's mistake, so they never have to confront their own choices. Stoicism teaches that responsibility is the foundation of power, but low-level people treat responsibility like poison. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Yet these people refuse to look foolish long enough to grow, and staying near them forces you to absorb their helplessness. Listen to the way they speak about their past, their relationships, their work, their goals. Every sentence drips with excuses, with stories carefully designed to protect their ego from the truth. They blame timing, circumstances, friends, bosses, partners, luck, fate, anything that keeps them from facing themselves. Their world revolves around avoiding the discomfort of accountability. But avoiding discomfort is exactly what keeps them small. A Stoic embraces the hard truth because truth is strength. And being around people who reject truth slowly bends your spine until you stop standing upright in your own life. These people drain your energy because their mindset forces you to carry weight they refuse to lift. When something goes wrong, they look to you for emotional cleanup, for reassurance, for blame shifting, for justification. You become responsible not just for your life, but for the emotional fallout of theirs. And the longer you stay, the more they pull you into their narrative until you start apologizing for problems you didn't cause. Stoicism warns you to guard your inner peace, but accountability dodgers demand you sacrifice it. Their avoidance becomes your burden, their chaos becomes your job, and the cost is always your clarity. Notice how quickly they turn on you when holding themselves accountable becomes impossible to avoid. The moment you stop rescuing them, they label you cold, selfish, or unsupportive because accountability feels like betrayal to someone who avoids it. They are loyal only to their comfort, not to the truth. A Stoic remains rooted in honesty, but these people twist honesty into accusation. They will blame you for the very things they created. They will rewrite the story to protect their ego. And unless you step back, you'll become another chapter in their narrative of self-deception. Their refusal to take responsibility is more than a flaw. It's a danger to anyone who values growth. You cannot build with someone who avoids ownership, because everything constructed with them collapses under the weight of denial. They stunt your development by normalizing excuses, teaching you to fear failure, and encouraging blame instead of action. A Stoic mindset cannot thrive in a garden of avoidance, because avoidance kills everything it touches. If you try to grow beside a person who avoids accountability, your roots will rot in their soil, and your life will reflect their limitations rather than your potential. So here's the challenge. Choose the path of ownership, even if it means walking away from people who refuse it. Surround yourself with those who face themselves, who admit mistakes, who correct their course. Accountability is the heartbeat of growth, and you deserve to grow. Release anyone who refuses to claim their role in their own story. And let this truth stay with you. The moment you stop blaming others, you become unstoppable. And the moment you stop tolerating blame from others, you become free. Number 5. They prioritize pleasure over discipline. You can see it in the way they structure their days, always choosing the path that feels good right now instead of the one that builds strength over time. Their lives orbit around comfort, entertainment, distraction, and anything that gives them a quick hit of relief from the emptiness they refuse to confront. They mock discipline because discipline requires sacrifice, and sacrifice exposes their weakness. A Stoic knows that the soul is shaped through repetition, through endurance, through mastery of self. Seneca reminded us, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity." Yet these people do everything to avoid adversity, and if you walk too closely with them, you start avoiding it too. Notice how they treat responsibility like an intrusion on their pleasure. They procrastinate until the consequences grow teeth, then complain about the pain they created. They sleep in when they should rise, scroll when they should move, indulge when they should focus. Their entire life becomes a cycle of craving and regret. And if you're not careful, your standards begin to match theirs because the human spirit adapts to the environment it inhabits. Stoicism teaches that discipline is liberation, but low-level people live as prisoners of their own impulses. And the prison feels comfortable until you realize it's killing your potential. Watch how quickly their habits infect yours. One missed workout becomes 2, one lazy day becomes a pattern, one tolerated excuse becomes a lifestyle. When you surround yourself with people who worship comfort, discipline starts feeling extreme instead of necessary. You begin negotiating with yourself, lowering your ambition to fit the environment you're in. A Stoic guards the mind against decay, but pleasure chasers normalize decay as self-care. Their softness pulls you downward, shaping you into someone who survives instead of someone who rises. And every time you choose comfort over discipline, you trade your future for a moment of relief. Their pleasure-driven life may look harmless at first, but it corrodes everything eventually. They avoid challenges, so their resilience never grows. They avoid commitments, so their relationships collapse. They avoid responsibility, so their dreams remain imaginary. And they want you to avoid too, because your discipline threatens them. Discipline acts like a mirror that reflects what they refuse to see about themselves. Stoicism teaches that strength is earned through friction. Yet they treat friction like an enemy. And you cannot grow beside someone who treats your evolution as an inconvenience. Spend enough time with them, and you'll see how their priorities leak into your spirit. You start lowering your standards to match their pace, because standing out feels uncomfortable in a group that fears effort. You begin to rationalize mediocrity as balance, laziness as rest, and inconsistency as freedom. But a Stoic knows freedom is found in self-mastery, not self-indulgence. These people are not just living softly, they are training you to live softly too. And softness disguised as comfort becomes the slowest form of self-destruction. You deserve a life built on effort, not on escape. So hold this reflection tightly. The people you walk with determine the life you walk into. If you want strength, walk with the disciplined. If you want character, walk with the committed. If you want purpose, walk with those who value more than pleasure. Let their weakness remain theirs, not yours. Choose discipline even when comfort calls your name. And remember this truth as you move forward. The path of mastery is lonely at first, but the rewards echo through your entire life. Number 6. They stir drama, conflict, and chaos. There's a certain heaviness in the air when chaotic people enter the room, as if they bring storms with them wherever they go. Their presence is loud even when they're silent, because their energy carries tension, unresolved battles, and emotional fires waiting to ignite. They thrive on conflict because conflict distracts them from their own emptiness. A Stoic treats peace as sacred, but low-level people treat peace as boredom. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, and their thoughts are painted in chaos. And if you stand too close, that chaos begins to color your spirit too." You'll notice how nothing in their life remains stable for long. Friendships crumble, relationships explode, jobs fall apart, and they move from one crisis to the next, like it's a lifestyle. They don't just find drama, they create it because it gives them a sense of identity. Where others seek growth, they seek adrenaline. Where others seek clarity, they seek noise. Stoicism teaches that tranquility is strength, but chaotic people treat tranquility as weakness. Their inner storms spill into your world until you start bracing yourself for problems that aren't even yours. And eventually, you forget what peace is supposed to feel like. They pull you into their conflicts, expecting you to pick sides, defend them, or absorb the emotional fallout from their reckless decisions. You become an unwilling soldier in battles you never chose. And the more time you spend around them, the more your mind becomes attuned to tension instead of calm. Stoicism trains you to be unshaken, but chaos makers try to shake your world daily. Their arguments drain your energy, their crises steal your time, and their unpredictability weakens your ability to focus. You start living in reaction instead of intention, and a life lived in reaction is a life already slipping away. These people disguise chaos as passion, manipulation as honesty, and instability as personality. They claim they're just being real, but real doesn't mean destructive. They claim they're expressive, but expression doesn't require collateral damage. Stoicism teaches that the wise remain calm in storms, but low-level minds build storms to feel alive. They will test your patience, your boundaries, your compassion, and eventually your sanity. And if you stay long enough, their chaos becomes your normal until the peaceful life you deserve feels foreign. You cannot build strength while wading through someone else's emotional battlefield. Look at the way they consume the energy in a room, leaving everyone emotionally drained and spiritually exhausted. They turn every moment into a performance where they are either the victim, the hero, or the center of attention. Peace threatens them because peace forces introspection, and introspection reveals truth. A Stoic does the inner work, but chaotic people avoid it by causing noise outside themselves. They keep fires burning so they never have to sit in their own silence. And if you allow it, they will burn your time, your joy, and your clarity to keep themselves entertained. So reflect on this. Your life cannot expand while woven into the lives of those who choose chaos over growth. Peace is a strength they will never understand, and you must not sacrifice it to accommodate their storms. Step back, not out of cruelty, but out of self-respect. Protect your mind from emotional turbulence that is not yours to carry. And carry this truth forward. Distance from chaos is not abandonment. It is alignment with the life you are trying to build. Number 7. They envy progress instead of admiring it. You can sense it in their silence, in the way they glance at your achievements with eyes that look more wounded than proud. They don't congratulate you because your progress feels like a spotlight exposing their lack of movement. Instead of rising with you, they shrink and let jealousy rot whatever connection you once shared. A Stoic understands that another person's growth is proof of what's possible, but low-level people see growth as a threat to their comfort. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid, yet envious minds want improvement without the humility it requires, and their resentment becomes a poison that seeps into your spirit if you're not vigilant." Watch how they react when you take a step forward in your life. They offer half-hearted praise, subtle dismissals, or quiet withdrawal masquerading as indifference. They pretend not to care, but envy has a way of twisting the soul until even kindness feels like competition. Their heart interprets your success as an accusation, not an inspiration. Stoicism teaches that secure people uplift others, but insecure people crumble under the weight of comparison. And if you stay too close, their bitterness begins to infect your motivation. You start shrinking yourself so they won't feel small. But shrinking never saves anyone. It only destroys you. These are the ones who disappear when life starts getting good for you. They stop calling, stop supporting, stop showing up because your progress makes them uncomfortable. They wanted you close as long as you stayed on their level, but the moment you outgrow the environment that traps them, they retreat into distance or passive aggression. Stoicism reminds us that the company you keep shapes the direction of your soul, and there is no greater danger than someone who secretly resents your rising. Their envy isn't harmless. It becomes a silent sabotage waiting for the right moment. And often it comes from those you trusted most. You'll notice how they try to minimize your achievements with phrases that sound supportive, but cut beneath the surface. It's not that big of a deal. Anyone could have done it, or you just got lucky. They say these things because acknowledging your effort forces them to confront their lack of it. They cannot celebrate you because celebrating you means acknowledging their own stagnation. Stoicism teaches humility, but envy teaches denial. And someone who denies your progress will never protect it. They will cheer for you only if cheering costs them nothing, and progress always costs someone something. Envious people often hide behind smiles, pretending to be happy for you while their soul tightens with resentment. Over time, their subtle comments, quiet distance, and energy shifts start shaping your mindset. You begin second-guessing your dreams, fearing judgment that was never yours to carry. This is how envy steals momentum. It convinces you to dim your light so someone else won't feel the heat. But a Stoic refuses to shrink for anyone. Growth is a sacred duty, and those who fear it must not be invited into the next chapter of your life. Your path demands courage, not compromise. So here's your reflection. Protect your dreams from jealous hearts, even if those hearts once walked beside you. The people who envy your progress are revealing their inability to rise with you. Let them fall away. Let them drift out of your orbit. Walk forward without apology and trust that those meant for your life will celebrate your victories as if they were their own. And as you rise, hold this truth close. Admiration builds connection, but envy destroys everything, especially the one who carries it. Number 8. They have no higher purpose or direction. You feel it when you talk to them, that emptiness behind their words, that wandering spirit that never commits to anything meaningful. They drift from moment to moment without a sense of mission, like leaves carried by a wind they never question. Their life lacks purpose, and because they lack purpose, they instinctively pull others into the same fog. A Stoic moves with intention, grounded in principles that outlive temporary feelings. Marcus Aurelius said, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." Yet these people avoid ambition because ambition demands effort, and without effort, their life becomes a loop instead of a journey. Spend time with them and you'll notice how directionless souls create directionless conversations. They talk endlessly, but say nothing. They dream loudly, but execute nothing. They make plans they never keep, promises they never honor, and goals they never approach with discipline. Their life is built on wishful thinking instead of intentional action. Stoicism teaches that purpose anchors the mind, but these people drift because drifting feels easier than choosing. And if you walk beside a drifting soul, you begin drifting too. Your steps slow down, your vision blurs, and your future becomes something you'll figure out later, which is how most people never figure it out at all. Notice how their lack of direction becomes emotional weight on anyone striving for clarity. They distract you from your responsibilities because they have none of their own. They pull you into their idle routines, their meaningless habits, their cycles of escape that masquerade as relaxation. At first it feels harmless, but the harm comes quietly. You lose time, focus, momentum, and eventually, hunger. A Stoic understands that hunger for purpose is sacred and must be protected. But directionless people feed off your drive because they don't have one, and they unconsciously convince you to slow down so they don't feel left behind. These are the ones who question why you're working so hard, why you're so disciplined, why you care so deeply about the future. They see your purpose as unnecessary pressure instead of necessary strength. They want you relaxed, available, unfocused, drifting right alongside them so they don't have to face their own lack of ambition. But a Stoic knows that drifting is the beginning of decay. Purpose requires daily commitment, not occasional interest. And walking with the directionless makes your purpose feel extreme when it's actually the bare minimum required to build a meaningful life. You cannot chase your destiny while tethered to someone who isn't even walking. Their emptiness eventually becomes a quiet threat. Not because they intend to harm you, but because emptiness spreads like a fog. It dulls your vision, numbs your ambition, and blurs the path you worked so hard to clarify. You start questioning whether your goals are too big, too unrealistic, too much. And that doubt is the most dangerous poison of all. A Stoic protects the mind from doubt, but doubt thrives where purpose is absent. You must guard your direction like a flame in a storm, and you must recognize when someone's lack of purpose is dimming your own. So here's your reflection. A drifting soul cannot walk beside a rising one. If they have no mission, they cannot support yours. If they have no purpose, they cannot understand the weight of yours. Protect your path with the same intensity you protect your peace. Choose to walk with those who hunger for growth, who stand for something, who build instead of drift. And carry this truth as you move forward. Your future depends on the direction of your steps, and your steps depend on the company you keep. You've walked through 8 warnings that most people ignore until their spirit is already bruised and their purpose already diluted. Now the question is simple but heavy. Who around you is sharpening your mind, and who is softening it without you noticing? A Stoic doesn't rise by accident. A Stoic rises by choosing their company with the same care they choose their thoughts. And today, you were reminded that the people beside you are either lifting your vision or lowering it. There is no neutral influence in a world this loud. So pause and ask yourself what this message exposed. Who drains your strength with their chaos? Who dims your ambition with their envy? Who anchors you to who you used to be instead of who you're becoming? These questions matter because your environment is the soil of your character, and you cannot harvest greatness from poisoned ground. You have one life, one path, one chance to build a mind that reflects the warrior within you. Don't waste it trying to heal people who refuse to rise or hold people who refuse to grow. If this message spoke to your soul, write the word ascend in the comments. That one word tells me you're not just hearing these truths, you're ready to live them. Support the channel by liking this video and subscribing for more content that strengthens your mind. And when you're ready, click the video appearing on screen to continue building your resilience, your clarity, and your inner power. The path is waiting. Walk it with intention.